The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Sitting on my porch, drinking my switcher when I pull this great big fancy car. Plaster full of sticker from the bumper to the hood, movie star. Next thing I know, I was watching a show. The circus nearly knocked me off my chair. My little boy say, Pa, I never see that kind of car. How come them rich white people stop in here? I say, boy, they coming out the woodwork just like wood. Everybody catching politics like germ, chasing after sweetness just like lie. All that means 5 more years gone by.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day on this rainy Friday, the 8th of August, 2025. Welcome, welcome. So it's wet, it's rainy. It means it's open line Friday. I'm going to start the show by reminding you of the Loyalist Charles Farquharson Will competition, open to junior and senior high school students across the archipelago. 4 winners will be selected, 1 from New Providence, 1 from Grand Bahama, 1 from the Salvador, and then 1 from the rest of the family islands. To win the competition, you need to submit 2 pieces of information: the government recording record for Loyalist Charles Farquharson's will and the recorded date of Loyalist Charles Farquharson's death. That's the government recording record for Loyalist Charles Farquharson's will and the government recorded date of death of Loyalist Charles Farquharson. Call the show. Let us know you want to play the game. We'll transfer you to the producer. You give him your information, and then the organizers will contact you and let you know whether you're a winner or not. It's a great competition. The prizes continue to grow. The prize pot, the pool, continues to grow. We've got a few more weeks left till school starts. I want to encourage young people to take it up. Begin your research experience right here, right now. I got some happy birthdays. I got to say happy birthday to my cousin, Uncle Biliano. Happy birthday, Uncle. And to Ide Thompson, Bahamian poet and writer, academic. I know he's abroad, I think finishing his master's. So happy birthday, Ide. And then a special, I guess, recognition. Yesterday was the birthday of my Aunt Juanita Greene. Many people know her as Nurse Greene. For many years, she worked at Atlantis in the health and safety department. She's loved by many, or many also sleep in heavenly peace. Aunt Juanita, a.k.a. Nurse Greene, a.k.a. Nurse Juanita Greene. Her birthday was yesterday, 7th of August, 2025. And a little shout-out, happy birthday to my friend Alison Carminky, all the way in England. All right, that's a little housekeeping. Oh, wait. Fox Hill Day is coming up. Fox Hill Day, Monday, the 12th of August, 2025. I think there's going to be a big surprise. The Fox Hill community, I think under the leadership of the MP for the constituency, Mr. Fred Mitchell, have organized a amazing concert, man. The thing just looked like it could be jam up with fun. I see 2 of my favorites there. Shine and Johnny Cake going to be there. It's going to be an awesome time. I want to say congratulations to the organizers of an event that took place yesterday evening. a fundraiser, The Last Dance, an evening of rhythm, memory, and revival at Sapodilla Estate. We say to Sapodilla, thank you for being an awesome partner in this initiative. It was an unforgettable evening celebrating Bahamian music, movement, and cultural memory. The elegant soiree marked the finale of the Cat Island Accordion and French Camp Accordion Extravaganza 2025. There was a performance by four-time world accordion champion Greene Mackay. They had live Goombay rake and scrape performances by Blotty, Platty Dread, and more. And there was a Scottish and Bahamian quadrille dance party, a dance party. Proceeds support the camp's mission to revive the accordion and preserve our Bahamian musical heritage. You can call 557-2511. That's 557-2511 if you want to make a donation to the CIAF camp. That's the Cat French Camp Accordion Extravaganza. I'm sure a good time was had by all. So like I said, it's an open line. I'm going to be looking at what's in the news. NFL preseason started last night. I could be honest with y'all, I was busy celebrating the rain. I was really busy celebrating because it's been such a very, very dry year, and it should be concerning. We have to watch these weather patterns and prepare for potential extreme weather conditions. If this year continues as dry as it has been, then we really need to start thinking about water catchment policies, drought policies, fire safety policies. A number of things need to be put on the table. But the line is lit up, and let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You know, this is an open line.
Yes, it's an open line.
Observing and listening to this back and forth with the Prime Minister in terms of what he would have said from what he didn't say, et cetera, right?
I've been following it.
You're right. You know, we all are. But I'll go on record, as saying that, do you think that the PM is having an early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, since he don't want to admit to the obvious that everybody else can read and see and listen to? One can easily come to this conclusion. I'm not saying that he has it, but one can easily come to this conclusion.
Yeah. After the performance, the back and forth, and then I think the most recent media clip of the PM speaking in the House, it would not be unreasonable for citizens to ask the question, is this an example of or manifestation of like an onset dementia, right? It's not unreasonable, and it's particularly important because the leader of a nation has so much to retain, so much that they must to recall, right, at a moment's notice. Right. That we all, and then the decisions that they're making, that we would all be concerned if our leader had dementia or began manifesting signs of what could be dementia. In this instance, though, I wonder if it is not that, and it is a lack of organization and a confusion in a space where the PM does not necessarily write his own speeches.
Yeah, but even if you write it, you can listen to the audio, you can read, you can see these things. We all can see it. Mm-hmm. We all can hear him saying it. And yet, vehemently, he is still debating it and going against it. Maybe if he hear me, he may decide to admit that he's in error because he don't want to be perceived as having dementia or Alzheimer's. We need to get, you're talking heavy stuff here, and hopefully we don't have another case of what we saw in the last in the U.S. presidential election, with Joe Biden has to be fundamentally wrong.
It wasn't that Biden may have dementia or manifested what appeared to be dementia-like conditions. It's the sort of chaos and the disruption that will occur, right, in the transition. First, in determining who will step up. Because remember, the Constitution did not create the office of Deputy Prime Minister, and there are no provisions in law that automatically make the person who is the deputy leader of the party the Prime Minister.
You're fully correct.
Right? And so the disruption that could occur in a quick transition is, I think, more detrimental than if the PM had dementia, right? And that's where our biggest concern should be, the transition of leadership.
Yeah, but it's scary. It's scary, and I don't wish that on nobody. We all may have to go through it as we get up in age, but the bottom line is just, you're talking heavy stuff here. You're talking running a country, being, global leaders, interacting with global leaders, conversing, and you can't be making these type of mistakes and then vehemently denying it and calling everyone else a liar. That has something has to be wrong with that. Or me, if I could read, if I could see, if I could read, and I can hear basically what I would have said, man, it can't be ego that will cause me to want to say I am. Just we are not perfect. We all make mistakes. What's wrong with saying, okay, I made a mistake, move on? If you want to be going back and forth, then you're going to find citizens like myself who is going to ask a deeper question. Is something going on with you in terms of your memory? And it shouldn't be. Elections is roaming around the corner.
And Duncan, let me tell you how reasonable this conversation is. We've had the Bahamas a couple of times over the last 2 years, and they have highlighted that globally there's an expectation of a rise in dementia cases to the extent that by 2050 we will have a global crisis, right? And are we preparing the public infrastructure, private and business sector to be able to take care of our aging parents and community members? As a father's rights advocate, right? I think about how culturally women tend to, the women tend to take care of the elderly parents, and then how a father may be at the bottom, may be the least priority in a caretaker's life. They got to take care of themselves and their own family. They maybe have to take care of the aging mother and maybe the aging mother-in-law. And then the father-in-law and the father may tend to fall to the bottom of the priority list, right? And to what extent are men and are we preparing public infrastructure to serve not just the elderly, but to provide for the specific needs of both elderly men and elderly women?
And I'm happy you raised that point, Erin. That's a very interesting point, and it's worth exploring for further conversations, because as you go around, you can see it, in terms of older men who are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's, and who are basically on their own.
Because right, they're negotiating.
You're right.
They're negotiating for care and they're negotiating for attention. And let's say that men may have not prepared for the future, but now that they are where they are, how will we take care of them?
Yeah, that's another thing. But we don't have any social kind of safety net, serious safety net for men. I've been advocating for years. Because when I came on the scene, they had a women's bureau there at the Department of Social Services. They had nothing for men, but they now have a men's desk, so to speak, whatever that is, because we can't see anything significant that sense the implementation of in terms of what type of impact it would have made. You still see homeless men. You still see men who are being abused, having to basically defend for themselves, and they're laughed at if someone finds out. But I mean, that part of it, which I am very passionate about, is needs to have some serious attention placed on it.
Absolutely.
We see the government right now. Just to show you how what I don't like about these politicians, when they talk about women and children, in most cases, you check it out, Erin, in most cases, they give them priority when in situations of war and natural disasters.
Mm-hmm.
Not just generally you only looking at women and men. We have males too. I take great exception to this hospital that is being built at taxpayers' expense, identifying women and children. What about the men?
We could talk about. But listen,
no country like that.
Duncan, I have reason through what I think the reasoning is, but we should have a presentation from the government as the rationale. Why are these the specialty areas that were selected for the new hospital? But listen, I got another caller on the line.
No problem.
Let me go, and thank you for calling.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next caller, and then we're going to talk about how the Alzheimer's dementia crisis also represents a national security issue. Good morning, caller.
Well, good morning, Erin.
How are you?
Women, and then I'd like to weigh in on dementia because it's a horrible disease, but you don't get to remember what the politicians did to you. But anyway, moving to women discrimination in your country, let me explain. I am going to fight, as I'm running, to remove all duty and all VAT and all customs entry fees and any other hidden charges off of women's feminine products.
Okay.
That's discrimination against women by men. You don't agree?
Well, it is a... Okay.
Because
Hold on.
Let's flesh this out.
Here's what it is. It's the difference between equality and equity, right? So people say, oh man, we treating men and women equal, but are we ensuring that men and women each get what they need in the way that they need it, right? And so in this instance, it would be equitable if you remove these fees from this service or this thing, because it is a function that women naturally have, right?
Correct.
Like it is extremely difficult or costly to stop a menstrual cycle, and having a hysterectomy will also have other unintended consequences.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think it's a worthy cause. Don't you?
I think it is.
Yes, and we've had it now since independence, and I thought that was ridiculous, and some politician would have sought to end that. Also, going to put some humor and sarcasm, I'm also going to fight to remove that tax and any duty associated with anything that women use to make themselves beautiful. Makeup, nails, hair, whatever.
Okay.
Because we want good-looking women here. Let's fix the Bahamas, Erin.
We want women who feel good about themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it there.
We want the good-looking women in hand.
No.
No,
We want women who feel good about themselves. But
exactly.
Listen, Graham, I think
so
this
why
is...
we put, how expensive makeup and perfume and different things are that women use. Most men don't use makeup. And more discrimination.
There you go.
Watch when I roll out my policies. I think you can enjoy them. We can have a show on it. Have a good one.
I got to go. Let me leave you here because it's a good place for us to row. Thank you. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Erin. How you doing in this good weather?
I'm good, thank you. Oh, the trees loving it, eh?
Because that makes sure now that you can have good fruits for people to pick up off the road and to jump over your fence or wall and just take a little one at a time. And then you have to shout out to them and say, "I looking for any husband or wife?" I know you're good. Erin, I appreciate you so much, girl. You would never know how much I appreciate just listening to you and the way you cognitively, you have this cognition about you that I wish we had it in Parliament. I had the privilege of taking care of my mother to the point where she actually left us. And I noticed there were times when she didn't recognize me, and there were times when she recognized me. And there were times when she actually called the police. Well, she was screaming so much that the police came because the neighbors called the police because they thought I was having, So she was going through her changes, and there was one similar thing, though. She definitely had an issue arguing with me over the truth.
Yeah.
And, we didn't call it Alzheimer's or dementia. We just didn't call it anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to watch our Prime Minister much more closely now. Because if he's going to be firm in denial, that's a problem.
Yeah.
All right? Now, I know that there's no connection between sciatica and Alzheimer's, but I do know when lithium is missing in the brain, you can have dementia.
Okay.
That deficiency, Howard's done a study on that, and that deficiency, and protein buildup, because, you have plaque and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and all these tree meat and fall meat and all these nice healthy foods that we enjoy because we're so wealthy and happy,
Mm-hmm.
all that builds up mucus throughout the body,
Yep.
right? So we need to really just pay special attention to our Prime Minister, and don't try to be the ones to push and poke and whatever, but just pray for him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that'll be, because, Erin, you have inflammation that occurs throughout the body, and you don't know where it's going to pop up.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But I am wondering if I can draw a correlation between something that we experience on a regular basis in our country called inflation, which is a condition where you have to, put some mechanisms in place in order to take care of the fact that if inflation gets out of hand, you have a problem. But I want to know if there's a correlation on a country level where you have inflation that affects the country and inflammation that affects the body, and how when you're governing a country that's experiencing high inflation, you have high inflammation levels, again, on the deep end. Maybe it could cause some neurological conditions because you're under stress.
Oh, yeah. I hear you.
Let's pray for the young man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember that we will get frustrated, but in these instances, we are caregivers and caretakers. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Greene. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm going to agree with Graham at a certain extent when he spoke about the women products. There are things that the women need, right? Now, if he feels like taking the tax or things like that, I can agree with him, right? But then you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on a 21-piece wig. Put the tax on that. Put the tax on the false fingernails. Put the tax on the makeup. A lot of women wear makeup, really don't need makeup. Now, some of them need it now. Some of them need makeup. But a lot of them don't really need it. So there are things that you could take the tax off the women
The absolute
items they really need and put it onto the things that they really don't need.
And then let us, because here's what happens, right? And here's what's happened. Remember, black people coming out of slavery into the apprenticeship and then into freedom, right?
Yeah.
Remember our one rule, man makes the man. You must dress to impress.
Yes.
Because if you give them, it's almost like you give them permission to treat you like a bum if you look like a bum, right? We've carried that on. We've perpetuated that. And in many professional spaces and in office culture, a woman who does not look her best, right, may not advance as quickly as other women in the workspace. But you see, I called the name Juanita Greene, right?
Yes, that's your aunt.
That's my aunt. Let me tell you something about Juanita Greene. Every time I saw her, she looked different.
She could address.
And if I didn't know her so well, I may not have known that it was the same woman. And then I realized that she wore wigs, right? And I thought about how much power a woman has or is able to, like an agency she's able to operate by changing her look.
But Ms. Greene, let me say this, please. There are some women that do magic.
Yeah.
When you meet them in the club, and you're lucky enough to get a one-night stand, When you wake up in the morning, it's a totally different person. Everything on the bureau.
Yeah, there's
everything that attracts you to that woman is resting on the bureau. The wigs, the dentures, the nails, the eyelash, everything on the bureau. But let me say this in closing.
Yes, sir.
There was a member of parliament that said something yesterday in the House of Assembly about being in prison and being allowed to go to funerals and I don't think he said weddings. I think he said funeral, visit the sick, and some other. I'm going to say this. I hope that he's trying to get some things passed before this term is up. So just in case, they could say, well, why you never say that when you was in Parliament? Now you here with us.
I got you, yeah.
God bless.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's prep the next caller. And caller, thank you for your patience. I think prisoners should be allowed to go to funerals of immediate family, like if your wife died, your mother, your father, your maybe grandmother, your child. Certainly, if your child dies, I think the police, prisoners with police escort, should be able to attend a funeral. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, what's happening, Erin?
Everything's good. How you do?
You know, I hear you're touching base on this Alzheimer's and the Prime Minister, right?
Mm-hmm.
I too have had family members who suffer from Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about Alzheimer's patients tend to live in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They can remember stories from like it happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I say that to say this. I don't think that's the case with the Prime Minister. I think that's habit. I think that this is not just the Prime Minister. I think this administration. Remember the boundary situation with the Prime Minister? He misled the Bahamian people.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the situation with the catastrophic insurance for the country? The Prime Minister misled the Bahamian people. Alfred says, and the BP situation with the hedging.
Yeah, I remember. I remember distinctly conversations in the public domain. The Prime Minister and Sayers, and the Prime Minister and LaRota about NIB. This kind of back and forth.
Exactly. So this is not Alzheimer's or onset signs of Alzheimer's. I think this is habit, and I think this is habit with the administration. Again, let's look at even the situation with the deputy leader Shannon Cartwright just gets suspended. Why? Because Leon Landy said something and Shannon corrected him. Mm-hmm. So I think this is habit with this administration. I just think that's them. I just think it's them, and I think it's an injustice. It's an insult, actually, to people who suffer from Alzheimer's, or people who are family members who suffer from Alzheimer's. Because this is no trend on no hint of Alzheimer's. This is just habit.
I call it political culture. And I think, like you, I err on that side, if that's a position on the table, that it is a political culture. It is habit that is turned into political culture.
And I think it needs to be called out for what it is. And again, if the Prime Minister could publicly call for Candia Dames to apologize, then he should be able to stand up and apologize and admit his wrongdoing.
That's something, hey. I like how you articulated that just now. I was going to say we'll all be eating Cornish hen before I apologize, if it were me, about that particular instance. There are many things that I may find that I would apologize for, but in that instance, in this particular instance, the whole country would be eating Cornish hen before I apologize. Thank you for articulating it so clearly, sir.
All right.
Absolutely. Producer, let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there? I fear we have lost the call. Oh, boy. Here we go. First text. The recent budget contribution by Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis, marred by contradictory statements on whether the nation's finances reflected a surplus or a deficit, underscores a troubling lapse in clarity and competence. A capable Minister of Finance would have come prepared with precision, ensuring the people's business, especially their finances, is communicated without ambiguity. But more than technical competence. True leadership demands accountability. A better leader would have simply acknowledged the error, apologized, and moved on, avoiding the unnecessary spectacle that now overshadows the facts. At a time when many Bahamian households face economic strain, the people deserve accuracy, diligence, and capable stewardship from those guaranteed 5 years in office. The Bahamian people deserve better. Thank you for that text. Texter, very articulate. I'm going to go to the phone line, to the text line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, Miss Greene. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay, and you? Okay, I just want you to remind the nation, right, to please get early preparations for the hurricane season, opposed to waiting until the last minute when plywood is $100 and some a sheet, and you're running around like you're stupid looking for wood and water. So just get early preparations now, and if you could afford it, make sure you insure your house.
Yeah.
Because, house insurance, that's important, and most people, we don't get insurance, and then after the hurricane come and blow off your roof, then you're in problems.
And get content insurance as well.
Yep.
If
and
you're
also, please remind the people, too, that flood insurance and hurricane insurance is completely different.
Yeah.
So make sure you read your contract.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make sure read your contract. Flood insurance, ensure that you have flood insurance, and if you don't, if it's not a part of your existing policy, get it. Also, insuring the house does not necessarily insure the contents of the house. If you're living in an apartment complex, if you're renting or if you're leasing, get content insurance as well as ensuring that the landlord and the property owner's insurance is up to date as well. Thank you.
Because if you know better, you do better.
That's absolutely right. That is absolutely right. And mind you, let's prep the next caller. Hurricane season started. And so there's 2 months, almost June, July, we're in August, 2 months down. If we take it piece by piece, every weekend you go in the yard and you move 1 or 2 pieces of thing in your yard to someplace safe. Piece by piece, you buy an extra can of tuna, you buy an extra something, and then make sure you have your manuals, your manual can opener, you have your radio, right? Get yourself some battery-operated fans, get plenty Ziploc bags, right? These are the things you do. If you got a vacuum sealer at home, you have a plan, vacuum seal all your documents so you can keep them safe, or Ziploc bag them up. Producer, let's go to that next caller. I got it. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Good morning, Erin.
How you do?
Yeah, I agree with that caller earlier. Yeah, it's been a pleasure listening to you, man. You're really informed and used to your research and everything, man. And keep up the good way.
Thank you. Thank you.
But Erin, is it a coincidence that what Mr. Einstein was talking about, that particular MP, is it a coincidence that he's just talking about visits to go to funeral when you're in jail? That same particular MP have a serious case that was going on for 3 years now.
I have no idea.
That's a coincidence?
I have no idea because I don't know who the MP is. But wow. Thank you. Listen, thank you very much. I'm going to do some research. I shall do some research on that. Let's go to the next caller. Also, I thought you was going to tell me who played last night, man. Let me know if the Dolphins lose their first game of the year, of the season. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yes, how you doing today, Ms. Greene?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Just quickly, I just want to make a point quickly, and I want to get to the point that 52 had commented on earlier in the week. This thing about the Prime Minister and dementia, et cetera. I'm certain his entire party doesn't have dementia. So, I'm certain that they would have advised him that he would have said those things if he had truly forgotten. Right, but the whole fact about it is that if it's dementia or not, the bottom line is that is unacceptable. That kind of way, because you cannot utter something publicly, right? Be wrong, accuse others, demand apology from others, and still double down in your refusal to be accountable for what it is that you have done and said. Right, that is that right there. Because if he can do something like that, imagine what goes on secretly, and if we ask questions, we'll never know the answer to those things, right? But early in the week, and I think it goes to double standard too, Ms. Greene. You could tell me if you disagree or not, right? But earlier, 52 had commented, I don't know individuals that caught what he had said when he was talking about how females would have a problem with older person, older man talking to a younger woman. I mean, especially partly when it's black people, because when it's a white man, it seems as if it's not too much of a problem, right? But these same women would brag about being cougars, right? Women would brag about being a cougar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A cougar is the reverse of an older man talking to a younger woman. And furthermore, a cougar relationship is not one that is based mostly on a long-term relationship. It's one that is based on fun. Because at least sometimes...
It's predatory. That's why they use an apex predator in the description.
Yeah, but see, I consider any older man in a society who is taking advantage of younger women, who is not offering them some type of security, but only using them as some pleasure or some object, personal gratitude. That's a sick individual. That's a menace to society.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But I'm not defending anything because, furthermore, any woman who is over the age of 18 is an adult. You know what I mean? And if she wants to talk to a man who's 100, that's her business, and it's legal. Do you understand? And the thing about it is that these same women who would have a problem, who would actually go out and be verbal and express great anger toward that thing, would not have a problem, would encourage. Like if you say, look at them two men over there liking each other, they'd be like, oh, well, that's their life. They can live their life how they want to. So why are you so concerned about two other people living the life the way they want to? Do you understand? So I think it's a double standard because, like I say, these same women can brag about being a cougar.
Listen, no, they can't. Hold on, no, they can't. Hold on. They can't brag about being a cougar. Now, there is a contemporary culture, right? Coming from our cousins to the north, the dominant culture, that suggests to us, right, that has been normalized. But we could see with just basic observation of that it has not been normalized. But also, there was a letter, I think, in the Jamaica Gleaner this week or last week, calling attention to the same dynamic in the education space in Jamaica, where they're concerned that big grown adult women are attending and inundating sports facilities and activities and swooning and essentially preying on, perhaps preparing to groom young men, right? And a couple of years ago, C.A. Newry brought to attention through his social media space an instance where I think adult women were sexualizing young athletes at a national sporting event, right?
Interesting. But like I say, Ms. Greene, but it's still, even though you said that and I agree with you 100% about how we, trends from the north tend to influence us.
And create the, hold on, and create the fortune that the behavior being displayed has been normalized and accepted because of its prominence in media. But that's not necessarily the case.
Yes, and so like I say, so like I said, and I've seen, because like I said, cougar thing was a trend one time. It's still true, but one time ago it was a trend. You know what I mean? It was a trend. So it was something, and it wasn't something that you saw, and you didn't see men coming out criticizing them. You understand, for their behavior, but women would criticize men for the same thing that they would do. But like I said, but I have a problem with older men who objectify younger women and take advantage of them, because what they are doing is they are
stealing the youth,
reinforcing in the young woman that all she is an object. Do you understand? Where he is supposed to be trying to teach her, and if you're going to fool with a younger woman, at least offer her some security.
No, you offer a job and then say, hey, come meet my son or my nephew. That's how you offer security. Get a job.
But Ms. Greene, like I said before, though, they're still adults, and because it's not illegal, though, Ms. Greene. Do you understand? Irregardless of how we feel about it. Because if we were to air out our feelings against things that we personally feel is immoral, I don't think everybody would like it.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to talk to each other. But listen, I thank you for your call. You've given us lots to think about, lots to hash out, and made us realize we still got lots more to talk about. But I got two more callers on the line. Thank you very much, eh? Let's go to the next caller. We can clear this board and get to these texts. I see you text people. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Erin, I agree with you, man. I agree. It's Friday now, so you got to get back into sports.
Yeah, we're getting back into sports.
Yesterday, we had a nice time, man. Had some cocktails watching the game. The 3 games was Joe Burrows, the Bengals, and then Baltimore that play with them, and then the last game was the Eagles.
Okay.
The Eagles.
Oh, that's a spanking opening.
Huh?
I said that's a spanking opening, man.
Yeah. But the game was between the Raiders and Seattle Seahawks. That should have been like a season game. The Bimini boy, Geno Smith, and Pete Carroll gone over to the Raiders. Now, the two of them come from Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
So they'd been playing their old team.
Okay, yeah.
They'd been playing their old team, so that'd have been a good rivalry if that was a regular season game.
Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you a question. You watched that new show on A&E, Stadium Lockup, yet?
No, I ain't see it yet.
I want every Bahamian to watch that, right? Because it gives you an example of all of the resources, energy, people, and mechanisms and coordination required to pull off a major sporting event like that.
Right. Yeah, but you need billions of dollars, man. Billions of dollars.
But for our sports and tourism, sports and Paradise Initiative, and for anybody organized and trying to make money in the country, you have to be at scale, national, to see the level of the amount of organizing and organization required to make these things work.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I think preseason games, I think you don't pay for that. You don't pay for that. I think it's free because that's a give back to the fans.
Yeah.
But the Colts game and Baltimore game come to a tie.
Okay.
23-23 because, overtime and preseason.
Yeah. But that's high scoring, man. That ain't bad.
Yeah, that's some high scoring, yeah. But we can't roll it. Yeah, we had some fun. We had good fun last night, man. Yeah, man, we enjoyed it. We can't wait till September 4th for the real thing. Then you can see some things kick off.
Season open. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be ready.
Yeah, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's rainy day. Just be careful out there on them streets because it's wet.
Yeah, if you see that Sawyer boy, the other Sawyer boy.
I waiting for him for this season.
Good
stuff. But you see they give Brock Purdy that big money. But the 49ers still ain't going nowhere because Samuel's ain't there no more. He gone. I waiting for Eric to come. I waiting for him for this season. Him and Naughty, boy, they in trouble.
Good stuff.
All right.
Keep them chafe up. Let's go to the next caller. There we go. Good morning, caller.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Australia here. How you doing? With both, kind of hard to agree, but I think just with the caller with Cleaver Duncombe, I think that I know the caller says that it's their habit of misleading and misdirecting us has become our instant habit. Deny, deflect, and convolute and conflate any issues. This is where you hear this party say things like, I don't know why they don't want to support this. This is similar to what he offered. No, the similar is not the same. And that's a language distortion that individuals use.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Mercedes is similar to a BMW luxury car. Are they the same car? No.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about housing. But what Cleaver said, I think just for the sake to dismiss that, so we can absolutely know that it's gaslighting they're into, I think he should have a checkup and then tell us that he really don't have the Alzheimer's or whatever they say they suffer from a dementia.
That's interesting. I'm wondering if we should adopt that American policy.
I think we should. For the mere sake that we actually pay for their health care, And I think that we should know in advance what we're signing up for, because when we do, we could just simply, you may have somebody run for office because they just need that $1 million operation. And so it's not about representing us, it's about taking care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different things that we need to change in this country. We are behind 8 ball, the rest of the world. I want to talk about the housing issue, because the government is talking about knocking down and even going into the communities. And I think, and I talked to my wife about this, and she thinks that the housing this housing program by the government is short of being a scam, because essentially what they do is every single year we have a need for 4,000 new housing, and they brag about giving 5, 10, 15, 20 homes into the marketplace. So that leaves a deficiency, even if you build 50% of them of 2,000 homes. And I think, and I keep putting emphasis on this, I think it's a very important aspect that was made in May or something of that time, when a concept was introduced into Parliament concerning land banking as a means of for social housing. But what happens, though, is that, and it was introduced by the leader of opposition, Michael Pintad, it is very, very important because it actually brings a balance to the housing issues and the fluctuation, this high increase in prices that is happening within our country. But the biggest problem we have when we talk about housing, everybody talks around it. If you actually was to do an analysis of the housing, of what it is you need to buy a home, you could find out that 70% of Bahamians, and I think our news did a show on this, 70% of Bahamians would not qualify even for what we call low-cost housing or affordable housing. And that's because the economy hasn't grown, but for the mere fact it has moved away from, housing has moved away from affordability for most Bahamians. But there is a solution to this, and I know we don't talk about current technology. There's a bill that was introduced during the last administration called a bill that allows for almost an unlimited means of financing. I mean, the DARE bill, if you properly understand it in its context of fintech, I can assure you that the only two people who will not get financing in the Bahamas is under 18 and they're dead, because neither of them can legally sign a contract.
Okay.
But we have to have, like when we talk about these issues, I think we have to adopt 21st century information. We use these words like fintech and financing and financial services, and we say, oh, we're going to have a fintech industry in the Bahamas. But then we don't question those individuals who make these utterances as to exactly how do we achieve what you're saying and exactly what does it mean, because we hear it in the global aspect. And the reason I said it is that the DARE bill has been there for 4 years, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then why haven't we moved to see these innovative?
Because it's not for us. See, Alan, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to exclaim that.
No, but I'm saying to you is that if we have a conversation, people may just understand. If I want to build a bed and breakfast, and we said we need these thousands of rooms, how hard it is for a destination as pure tourism if we would have the same SBDC who like to give these $5,000 and $10,000 grants would help them create business plans that they could convince 1,000 people somewhere in the world, or the 11 million people, to say, give Erin $1,000 each.
Hold on, you're doing it again, see, Alan? Those facilities are not for us, they're for the government.
Well, it's time for us to
But listen, I got to go. I got about.
But I can tell you, leadership changes all of this. It
Absolutely.
will happen after the next election.
Absolutely. I got 2 more callers on the line. So let me just follow up on a number of things. Let's say congratulations to the Ministry of Tourism for securing, I think it is the presidency of WTO something, right? Like we on presidency of something at WTO. And I saw the article. I'm not sure if it's in today's paper. Is it today's Tribune? Yesterday, congratulating the minister responsible for tourism, aviation and investments on his appointment. And I just want to remind y'all that, here it is, Cooper elected VP of UN World Tourism Organization for Americas. The Bahamas was elected. The Bahamas, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas was elected VP of UN World Tourism Organization for Americas. Chester Cooper just happens to be the Minister of Tourism and the person who will sit in that seat. He didn't win it. Let's start getting these things correct. It is the office that did it. The Bahamas got it. And this is the individual who will represent. That's it. Let's be careful how we allow people to talk to us. Good morning, caller.
No, I just like to chime on the situation we're talking about, the housing crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there will actually be no affordable homes. No, I shouldn't say affordable. There won't be no low-cost homes because of the price of steel. The only way you get a low-cost home is basically if you strip the steel and don't use the steel in the belt. The system for that is possible, but you could tell sweet Jesus, I will live in no house with no steel inside it.
Well, listen, you talking about steel. Thank you very much, caller. You talking about steel. I trying to figure out where the Prime Minister got the money to buy all this iron because he's filled with irony of late. This article, 2 articles, in fact, politics has become too hostile. Davis, that's the Nassau Tribune, and PM urges political unity. That's the Nassau Guardian. PM Davis said yesterday that he is deeply concerned about what politics is turning Bahamians into, asserting that some people no longer just argue, they attack and are quick to label others as corrupt, wicked, and irredeemable. Now, when you say some people, do you mean PLP? Sir, close the war rooms. Shut down the war rooms. And you know what? Do me a favor, personally. Investigate the behavior taking place amongst members of the war room. Do that for me to take you seriously. Start by shutting down the war rooms. Oh, decent Christian politicians. Let's start that. So I was very upset when I read this article. Politics has become too hostile. I read from the Tribune. PM Davis yesterday decried the current state of politics. Is deeply afraid, that's in quotes, deeply afraid of what it has become and how it is affecting communities. Now, next sentence. His comments came at the Church of God of Prophecies Love Thy Neighbor event. See? Did he say it in the House of Assembly? No. Did he say it in an OPM briefing? No. Did he say it at a PLP rally? No. He said it at a church service. You know why? Because God has forgiven sins. That's probably not why. But the point is, as soon as I saw where he said it, then I knew how seriously to take it. And then I got to this part of the article, referencing American writer and civil rights activist James Baldwin's observation that every encounter reflects a part of ourselves. Then I realized the Prime Minister probably didn't even write it. Let's take us back to the earlier story. It's unlikely that the Prime Minister wrote the budget communication. Wrote it in a way that he would remember what he wrote, you know? It's unlikely. In the same way, that as soon as I saw this line, civil rights activist James Baldwin's observation, then I knew. You're just talking to talk. Because if you were serious about the state of politics, you'll shut down the war rooms. And you'll investigate the behavior of the actors within the war room, particularly to other members of the war room. Do that for me, please, sir, and maybe we will take you seriously. All right, let me get to the text line quickly. Side note, Erin, I saw one of those ATV drivers going down Bay Street in the opposite direction of traffic to go God knows where, probably to tell the group of tourists waiting for him to follow behind him. The devil is a liar. You know how many cars I watch run the red light on Bay Street at East Street? You know that's where they used to have the police officer on the box for the tourists? Pretty colonial pictures. If only the police would not only enforce traffic controls, but follow them themselves. Here's another text. The PM's blunder is a national disgrace, and equally as bad is equally as bad as the chorus behind him that was banging on the desk. No research, just a bunch of yes, sir, boss, sad. Oh, Erin, with all due respect, menstrual products are just as essential as toilet paper, deodorant, and other toiletries. Text her. You see it raining? Go wash off in the rain, man. Because this unhealthy predilection you have with diminishing women and their needs, A little rain and a little ginger ale will fix that because it's probably gas texture. Here's another text. What club the caller going to where the woman taking out dentures? You don't want to know, and I don't want to know. Just know that elderly people have needs, they have rights, and they have desires as well. Producer, I'm so happy you start playing that music. Here's another text. Politics is not the core of the problem with these murders. It's the invasion and cultural divide of nationalities. We Bahamians are not taking this ethnic cleansing genocide very well. Shush! I never thought I'd reach the point on this show where I would tell the texter to shut up. While people are being genocided in Gaza and Palestine right now, and you talking foolishness? While there've been civil war and unrest and thousands of people being killed in Africa. Perpetual conflict. And you was that what we are experiencing, an influx of Haitian migrants undeclared by the state, although they've told you that there's a labor shortage. You refuse to recognize that Haiti is being occupied by foreign forces. You know the set who you like to buy your things from, yeah. Please, on this good weekend preceding Fox Hill Day, let us not just celebrate emancipation, but commit ourselves to continuing the work of preserving our freedom, the very little that we have. Please. Anyway, y'all know what's up next. Guardian Radio AM with CA News.
But he's tired all the time, cause every time a plane lands, some woman singing he rhymes. I don't mind.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app.